This is a story from India. Beside the Teesta River lay the village of Rupali Gram, which means Silver Village, and the name came from the shine of the Teesta, how it shimmered and sparkled like a million pieces of silver. In this village lived a shepherd boy named Rakhal. His day began with the gurgling sound of the Teesta and ended by sitting on the riverbank playing his flute. To Rakhal, the Teesta was more than just a river. She was his first friend, like a secret confidant, and the source of all the music in his life. The Teesta was exceptionally restless. In summer, when her body would dry up, Rakhal would sit for hours, with his feet dipped in her mud-washed body, as if tending to his sick friend. In the rainy season, when her youth overflowed, Rakhal's heart would tremble at her fierce appearance, but he wouldn't move away. He knew this anger was fleeting, and this current was for creation. So from being a child to becoming a young man, Rakhal spent all his time with the Teesta. He loved her laughter. He loved her songs. He loved the way she caressed the fields, giving life to the crops. The Teesta was the life and livelihood of the villagers. She provided water, fish, and the fertile silt that yielded golden harvests. And in return, the villagers gave her their love. They respected her, and they made sure they gave back to the river what they took from her. Then one day, the villagers saw something strange. Bubbles were rising from the bottom of the riverbed. They looked like white flowers blooming under water, and these bubbles kept coming to the surface, breaking the river's calm. When Rakhal saw this, he went to the spot. He too saw those bubbles rising, and he saw something else. Do you know what? Do you want to guess? Let me give you a hint. What makes your city shine and sparkle? Can you guess yet? Well, it's the same thing that's happening here, but it's not good. See, there was a big factory near the village, and it used the Teesta's water to make things shiny and sparkle, just like the river. But while taking the water, the factory was also dumping its dirty waste into the Teesta. And this had been going on for years. When the bubbly water reached Rakhal, he realized what was happening. The river's water wasn't sparkling anymore. Its shine was gone. It was murky, dark, oily. He could barely recognize his friend. The bubbly water had choked the Teesta, and it seemed she couldn't do anything about it. Seeing his friend in pain, Rakhal felt terrible. He wanted to help her, but how? One day, Rakhal sat on the riverbank. The tune of his flute was utterly sorrowful. He saw that the Teesta's water was no longer crystal clear. It was as if his friend had been murdered, her face covered in grief. The villagers saw that the river's illness was also engulfing their lives. Crops weren't growing, and fish were scarce. One by one, people began to flee the village for the city in search of a new life. Rakhal's father also told him to go, to leave this dying village. But Rakhal could not go. He could not allow this Teesta, his childhood friend, his youthful refuge, to die like this. He tried talking to the factory owner, but he didn't care. So Rakhal knew he would have to fight. But how could one boy fight a powerful factory? Rakhal was just a simple shepherd after all. Still, he had one thing the factory did not: his friendship with the Teesta. And so he decided to use this. One night, under a full moon, Rakhal went to the riverbank alone. He didn't play his flute. Instead, he took his old torn mosquito net and waded into the river. He began to clear the mud, plastic, and garbage. He was alone. The task was like building a sand dam in the ocean. But Rakhal kept going. The next day, Rakhal went again, holding a poster. It depicted the old clear look of the Teesta and its new, sad appearance. He hung the poster on the factory gate and at the village tea stall. At first, people thought he was mad, but Rakhal's determination was as strong as the Teesta's current. 1 month, 2 months. Rakhal cleaned the Teesta's filth every day and told people about his friend's distress. Slowly, he was joined by a few old people and some children from the village. They saw that Rakhal's tears and the river's water were merging into one. Then one day, a crowd gathered on the banks of the Teesta. They all took an oath. They went to the factory to appeal, and they went to the local administration. The power of a collective voice is stronger than the river's current. Finally, after much struggle, the factory was forced to stop dumping dirty water. And the villagers, under Rakhal's leadership, began cleaning the riverbank every week. Slowly, the Teesta's water began to clear again. The fish returned, and that gurgling sound, that call of old friendship, reached Rakhal's ears once more. These days, most of us spend our lives far from rivers. We live in cities where concrete has replaced flowing water. But whenever we get a chance, we must take a break from the chaos and go to a river. We need to see water flowing, because it will remind us of our own life force. Yes, rivers have a life of their own. They carve paths through solid rock. They change the land's face over the years. They are also the lifeline of the earth. All living things need rivers. Rivers nourish the earth. But even though we depend on rivers, we often forget that they too depend on us. We are part of the river's life just as much as they are part of ours. So we have to remember that we can't harm rivers or take their existence for granted. This story reminds us of that. It shows us how we should value nature and how our life depends on it. There are many stories about nature, but this one tells us something else as well. This story tells us about sacrifice. Rakhal gave up his life of leisure to save the river. He chose to befriend the weak so that they could stand up and fight. He didn't let the difficulties pull him down. Even when the whole village left him and he was cleaning the river all by himself, he didn't complain. He understood that sometimes you have to be selfless to save others. Rakhal is no longer just Rakhal. He is now the village's Teesta Baba, father of Teesta. He proved that a single person can make a difference. He showed us that we can save the environment around us if we really try. Now tell me, have you ever seen a river turn dirty because of pollution? How did that make you feel? Tell me in the comments section below. If you liked this story, hit the like button and share it with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do that as well. This way you won't miss out on any of our wonderful stories. Thank you for watching.